What's going on, everyone? This is LFC Transfer Room here, and we're here for a match preview. But not the match preview everyone's got in their head. We have some work to do before we get to that City game. And before we get to the City game, we have first leg against Slavia Prague to talk about. Now Slavia Prague are no slouches, currently top in the Czech league, which obviously I know we're all really into the Czech league. Kev never stops talking about the Czech league. Honestly, Slavia Prague this, Slavia Prague that. But top of the league, 60 points, 55 goals for, 15 goals against, only lost one game all season. They are in a rich run of form, and it'd be really stupid to just ignore that actually we're going to a place where a team we're full of confidence, shouldn't we, Kev? We need to take this seriously and then get past this before we start to think about City.
Absolutely. You look at what they've done, the injuries that we've had as well. We can't go into this thinking it's a group stage. Have I gone?
Oh, no, you're back. You're just on under the leg. Oh, it seems he's gone. Kev's flown in, flown out. What do you think, Kings? Taking it seriously?
I think
it's a job to do, isn't it? I know it's 2 legs, but there's still a job to do.
Yeah, there is. I think when you first said it, I'll go back to when the draw was made. I thought that's not a bad draw. That it's pretty good. We're top of the league, etc. Now, as you've just said about Kev being so up on his Czech teams and everything, I'm not quite as up on him as him. And as you've said all that of how good they are at the moment, now I've gone into panic mode, thinking, oh, this might not be as good as. I'm still confident, but it won't be easy, to be fair. I mean, the same as Liverpool, they're top of their league, as you said. Excuse me. And they'll go into this in a rich vein of form, happy to be in the next round like we are. So it'll be tough on Liverpool, but I think over the 2 legs we'll have enough to pass them, or hopefully anyway. But yeah, it definitely won't be an easy game.
Well, we're going to start with the obvious question, which is, where's Kev? Well, Kev's right here. No, we're going to start with the obvious question, which is, do you go really heavy with the first team? Núñez, McAllister, bring back Salah. Do you go first team heavy and bring everyone off? Or do you rest them just with sure Man City in mind, going, well, we'll probably do them in the second leg? And let us know in the chat, would you go heavy starters to start?
I think you go into it with a bit of trepidation.
You think?
A bit of trepidation for me. You've got to weigh into account the injuries that we've had and take them into account, and the fact that you can't just go into this full 100% pelt and expect that we won't get anything out of it. I think we continued the way through. Here we go.
I mean, Kings Helios.
I've gone, lads. I apologise. Right there.
Don't worry. Sparta Prague in their last 5 home games in competition have won 4 and drawn the other 0-0 against Rangers, scoring 12 goals, conceding 4. I mean, they're a decent level of competition, aren't they?
Yeah, as following on from what you said at the beginning, top of their league, lots of goals scored, etc. It's like it is actually a tougher draw than people probably give it credit for. Yes, they've scored against Rangers, and people go, well, they're only in the Scottish League. But at the end of the day, it's 11 v 11. As for how you play the game, how you approach it, I don't think Salah's going to start. I think he'll come on as a sub somewhere. But I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Núñez starts and swaps with him, because they've both been injured and they both need some time on the pitch before the City game, really. I know he come on against Forest and obviously scored the winner. But same as like Szoboszlai and stuff like that, you need some minutes in their legs, really, before the City game. So they've got to play some part, whether it's first or last. I don't know. So I'd probably put a stronger side out to start with and gauge it from there, and then think to yourself, well, if we happen to be 1-2 up, or something like that, then maybe you can change it around, I suppose. But yeah, I'm glad. The second leg's at home, isn't it? Yeah, second. So I think they'll be easier, I think, in the long run, because we can maybe wait until that leg to kind of hopefully ease through to the next round.
Now, Jen, as you're saying, more Kev, big up, boys. Thank you always for supporting the channel. And just, I'm definitely going to add to the stream, not Kev. This is Sam. Sam's joining us for the first time today. Not quite Kev, but I'll tell you what, Kev is now zoomed right in. Here we go. Now we've got all four of us on the screen.
I obviously, guys, right? I obviously anticipated that Kev was going to be on and off, because Jen said a few times that I'm like his double. So I've really come in to step in for Kev when he goes offline too.
Sam, what we were talking about before you joined us, mate, is do you go heavy, with first team players, or do you go heavy with kids for this particular game? Because obviously Sparta Prague, you can't ignore it. They're top of the league. They've gone through. They're not, they're lost one game all season. They're not conceding in Europa League. But you probably think in that second tie in Anfield, you could really do some damage. Even if you lost a couple, by a couple, you could probably turn it around in Anfield. Do you go heavy with the first team, or do you go light with the first team for this first leg?
Hello, guys. So what I'm thinking about this when I look at it, I think it's wise that we don't go with the heavy team, especially with the Manchester City game just nearby. I would really put all the priority on that game. Then we'll look at what we do as we go to the second one when they come to Anfield. I think that'll be a little bit better, because the games that are coming after that, they're way much better than using our big guns in this first game. It's gonna really test us, so we need to take it easy, allow them to have their moment at their own home, then we will fix everything on the second leg when they come to Anfield.
I completely agree. I was half distracted by Kev. It's like a comedy double after each other side. But I agree with you, Sam. It's for me, it's one of those. And we'll go through some of the players. I think it's probably the sensible thing. Let's go through some of the players. And the first one to probably start with is Darwin Núñez. Kev, do you start Darwin Núñez? He seems fitter, but he could probably do with some minutes. He could probably do some game time. He would probably benefit with 60 minutes game time, banging in a few goals, getting himself ready for Man City. Whereas Salah, you might bring him on for 20 minutes at the end. But we'll start with Núñez. Would you start Núñez? We'll go around. Let us know in the chat. Would you start Núñez?
I'd be tempted to. I think you made the right point. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I would definitely be starting Núñez myself. I totally agree with what you've just said. 60 minutes in his legs. It's not like Szoboszlai, who has been told that he has to be rested. He was in pain, could have been back earlier. Klopp has gone with the doctors with that. Different with Núñez. Get those. If you're getting ready for City, and what I was trying to say before is you treat it as though we went into Forest. You play everyone who is actually fit and play the young lads. Play it like that, like we did over the weekend, and integrate a few of these already. Núñez would definitely be one who I would start, and then bring off for maybe Salah. Maybe he may even get 45 minutes. Who knows? But for me, I think the biggest thing is that we haven't got Jadon Danns on that plane. So whereas he would have been starting and would have been able to come in, it now puts pressure maybe on Klopp to start with Núñez and then bring him off after 60, 65 minutes and see how he does and play it like that. But no, I'd definitely be starting him myself, personally.
Kings, are you starting Núñez? Is that one in the bank for you?
Yeah, I agree with Kev, to be honest. Like I've said previously, possibly swap them around later in the game so they both get some minutes, but not maybe all the game. I mean, I've seen obviously what Paul Lindo has said in the chat, that the priority is Sunday's game because we do have the second leg, but you can't treat them like mugs at the same time. You know, they've got to the same phase as Liverpool. They're doing well in their league. So we have to take it seriously. And I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, we all mock teams, or we have over the years, who play in the Thursday night league. But now you're in it, you want to win it. So you've got to be respectful of the opposition to a point, knowing that we've got a second leg. So I would kind of like try and balance it out by playing some minutes in legs and then swapping it around and saying, right, whatever the score, if it's a 1-0 loss, it's not the end of the world. If it's a 1-1 or a 2-1 win or something like that, it's like, great. Then aim for the second leg after the City game, thinking, okay, we'll pile in then maybe at home with home advantage and do better. So yeah, I would kind of like mix and match the minutes in the legs.
Now, Sam, one of the perks of starting Núñez is you could probably play Núñez as a central 9 and give Gakpo that sort of left wing role almost, you know, and let him. Because I think he's been such a team player this year, Gakpo. Everyone's like, oh, he's not scored as many goals as he should have done. But actually, he's played central midfield, he's played central striker, he's played false 9, he's played left wing. He's never actually had a constant position. And I think just giving him a game where he can feel confident and play his game and have Núñez there causing chaos, I think will probably help Gakpo just build his confidence. Banging a couple of goals due to Núñez chaos and things like that would work. Would you put Núñez on the left or would you put Gakpo on the left?
I think the best thing to build the confidence of Cody Gakpo is to put him at where he is really comfortable. I know people say that he can play at any position, but we all know when we signed him how the position he was playing at PSV. So I would really advise that they put him maybe on that left, so that because that's where he's comfortable, and maybe putting Núñez in the middle. You know, I was hoping that Dance was in this team. I didn't really want Núñez to play because, to be honest, when I was looking at the last 15 games that this team we are playing with has played, this Sparta, I discovered they have about 6 red cards. So I'm like, these guys, either they're fighting on the pitch or they're doing something. So we don't want injuries, especially with the Man City game coming. So of course, Cody Gakpo has really been a 7 for the club, and it will be so good for him to keep getting more minutes and even in those legs with confidence building up. But in terms of Núñez, yes, I know maybe Klopp might start him, but I really don't want our big players to be playing in this game. Of course, let's give them that time so that we try and get the best when they come home.
No, there's part of me that agrees with Sam, and there's part of me that agrees with Kev. And there's a thing that always struck me with Liverpool, which is we need momentum. We're currently in momentum. We've currently got really good momentum. And you look at what Arsenal tried to do against Porto. Now, granted, their momentum's carried on, but they've really put themselves in a shit situation because they're 1-0 down. Should we be using this really easy opposition to start the team we would start against City, rip them apart, and then rip everyone off? There's 5 substitutes. Let everyone have game time, let everyone play together, become automatic, become unconscious with your movement and where everyone's going to be, and actually play the game together. Now that's one train of thought. The other is protect everyone and stuff like that. But then I play in my head, you've got match fitness and you've got that extra 20% you need to push your body against City. If you're starting from 0, are you going to do more injuries? And Kings, I think that's what I can't seem to level in my head. Like, do you get everyone some game time, get them up to 20%, so when they push to that 100% against City, they're less likely to break, as opposed to kicking them off at 0%?
Yeah, it is a difficult balancing act. I would go for it to a point, but I just think I seen that from Paul. Yeah, we can put Joe Gomez. He can play anywhere. He's like Superman, isn't he? But because it's 2 legs, it is a difficult decision for Klopp, because he's not going to say, right, I'm going to play all the kids. And to be fair, I've got respect for them after the cup final and the Luton game. You know, they did fantastic. So even if he said, you know, I'm putting 5 youngsters in, I think most of us would be like, it don't matter now. They've been there and done it a little bit. But he's got to keep the momentum going, exactly as you said. And by doing that, gives him enough confidence to play on Sunday and then think, right, well, we've done well, or we've done okay in our first leg. We go into this big game that we know if we win, gives us a real good push of momentum further on then to go on and maybe take the title. And I think he'll have one eye that there is two legs in this. It's not a one-off game like the City game. So I think there'll be a couple of changes, but I personally think he'll kind of put a decent selection out.
Well, Kev, I have a suggestion from Paul Lindo for you, which I can't wait for you to see. With Alisson out, and now we have to protect Kelleher, should we start Adrian?
You see, do you know what? You know, if this was last season, I would be. I think the difference you've got now is that there's game time within that squad, and more game time than we've ever had under Klopp, I think, and a better squad depth. And if you look at that and how we finished the game against Chelsea the other week, all those players have the ability to come in and provide a level that we have seen and be consistent with this season. And we're seeing more of that out of our squad players than we've ever done before. It's a great fan base at the minute. It's a great squad at the minute. You've got the momentum that's being played, and us being, as we normally are, is apprehensive in certain games, and we don't want to play these players, we don't want to play that. We've got a big game on Sunday. Every game now is going to be a big game to the end of the season, regardless if it's City, Wolves, West Ham, anyone. We're going to be playing Thursdays and we're going to be playing Sundays. We're going to be playing catch-up in many games this going into the final weeks of the season. So we're always going to have this apprehension. I am less fearful of that this season because of the squad we've got. The squad we've got is abundant. It's abundance of talent, and I have a level of depth that we haven't seen before. And for me, I don't care who plays tomorrow, because whoever plays tomorrow, some of them will be playing Sunday as well. And we have to take into account that, unfortunately, we're in the business end of the season in which your squad players become integral to the running. All the starting 11 is not the ones that you need to worry about. It's the squad level that's within there, so that when they come in for suspensions, which are going to happen, and for injuries that may going to continue to happen to the end of the season, you need that level to be at a certain standard. We haven't seen that before. We've got players playing many minutes this season. It's Sparta Prague, the quality. It's away from home. I agree that we've got City, but every game's going to be vital. For me, I'd be starting our strongest 11 to start off with the apprehension of not playing the likes of Sloboslai, who needs the extra time away. Give him 20 minutes. He needs something in his legs. All these players coming back need to have some kind of game time this week, and this is a great opportunity to do that. We have the opportunity, and it's actually positive that we've got the second leg at home and not away, and that plays far more into our actual favour. So if it does go a little bit Pete-Tong, you do have the ability to bring that back in the second leg, by which stage you'll have virtually everyone back and back into the squad. I am not going to be that apprehensive as I have done in the past, because we've got a strong squad who can deal with all kinds. Look at that 30 minutes against Chelsea, and the amount of the amount of kids that were playing with less time. You know, we didn't think we were going to win it, but we did, because they've got that belief. And these are going to be important now to the squad players in the next 11 weeks, or in the next 11 games, the next 15 games possibly. We have to make sure that we have the ability to have those squad players to a certain level, which they are in abundance. We can bring people in at certain times, and we can flex it about as much as we want. We can go one up front if we have to. But the way I see it is, I wouldn't be too bothered about Kelleher play your strongest 11 at that year, have the ability to, and you've got the ability then to bring in the squad players if need to, who are already providing us with enough already to win us games on their own. So that's the way I'd approach it. It's nervy for fans because we're in that part of the season now where we don't want to see more injuries. but it's now under 10. So there's the positive for that. And in the next couple of weeks, that's going to come down to about 4 or 5, and then it will go down to 2, and then eventually, there'll be hardly anyone apart from Thiago.
I was going to say that.
But that's the way we need to look at it. The problem is that because of what's happened in the past, we get brought down with what happened last season and the COVID season, because the squad level was never up to this level that we're seeing. And why is that? It's because we've got Europa League. So we've managed to take the starting 11. We changed the complete midfield this season and have the ability to bring in youth players that everyone's absolutely starstruck with. It's amazing how good this team is, even with the squad depth that we've got. And if you don't, with that squad depth, you've got players now who can come in and do a job for you. We saw that on Saturday. It took a bit of a while to do. But again, we're getting over the line. And that's all we need to do for the next 11 weeks and get our head down. The momentum's there. Just keep it going the way we are doing. Change it as when we can. Tweak it with a few. That's all we need to do. A few little fine touches. It's a bit like fine-tuning a guitar. It's not going to be played by everyone at the same thing. People need it tuned a little bit differently. And when you bring Slobberslide back in, that will be tuned to a better beat. Everyone was coming back. We have to give them time to get to, and this is a perfect time to do it. How would we do it if we didn't have this game? I'm made up that we've got this game this week because it gives us that match fitness to those players.
We've got a couple more questions in the chat, and Jace and Helio, we will get to them. But one of the things I like, as Kev was explaining then, like how much of a good moment we're in and stuff like that. Sam, the main catalyst for this good moment for me is Virgil van Dijk. There was a period of time against Nottingham Forest where a cross came in, 2 players were sprinting down, and he just headed it in front of his own goal into Kelleher's hands. Like, just took all the pace. Like, the level of confidence and arrogance you need as a centre-back to have 2 players sprinting in on you and you just go, I'm just going to nod it back to the keeper, and confidence you need in the keeper to do that, to just go, I'm just going to put it in your hands and you're not going to panic either because I'm doing it, I'm Virgil van Dijk, everything's fine. I think in our running, for me, Virg is the big one. As long as he stays fit, great things can happen.
Exactly. And I do believe what you're saying is true because of all the people we have in our team. I think as of recent, Virgil van Dijk has become the most important player for us than we ever thought he would be, because it seems like he has now become the leader that everywhere he says up and he says he's going to do, the whole team are willing to follow him and do whatever he says he'll do. That's how much the team trusts him now. So I think he's very important in that team to be always being the leader. Because I was watching in the game, for example, the one that we saw the young kids playing, was it the FA Cup?
Yeah.
After the game, it seems like everyone kept on going in at each and every one of the players, like what Klopp always do, telling them how happy he was, especially the young kids. So you can tell that he's galvanized this team and he has built that confidence that I would say he was even lacking himself for last season. And it's just amazing to see. So you'd want him to be the main man that we have in this team as we go forward. Of course, I'm not really expecting him to start tomorrow because I know he won't be starting. But even if he's outside, you can still tell that whatever they're doing, the pattern of whatever they're doing the team, it's all under the leadership of how he has already set. And it seems like it's now an imprint in the DNA of the team. And they just know what he has to do and they trust whatever he tells them or whatever they do. But in terms of talking about Adrian being the goalkeeper, I don't know. You were talking about momentum just a few minutes ago, and you told me that we have a team that requires momentum that they have to build up. And if we remember, when Alisson was out, Kelleher, he needed some time to get to that perfect place we are seeing him at now. So I don't feel like him going out would be the best thing. Actually, I think it will actually limit him, and he needs to just remain there. I know we were scared, especially yesterday on social media when they said that he was injured. Everyone lost their mind on social media, but I think he's one goalkeeper who needs the momentum and the confidence to keep going forward and doing amazing. So I feel like he has to start. And Virgil van Dijk either is in the team or outside or on the bench, he'll still lead that team into something amazing this season, I'm sure of it.
Yeah, if I was Kelleher, I would pretty much need my left arm to be dropping off to get pulled out of that side, because I don't. There's a couple of views in it. One, he's got the momentum. He's playing well, Kings. He's doing really good as a keeper. But two, he's a 25-year-old on 10 grand a year, and in a critical moment, he's playing a really big role. So regardless of whether he ends up staying with Liverpool and signs a new contract, or whether he gets himself a transfer, this is going to be his major life-changing contract opportunity. So whatever happens, whether he ends up staying here, whether he ends up signing with another club, whether we sell him, whether we do anything like that, his next contract is going to be the big one. 25 to 30 is your big contract, really, normally, as a professional player.
Yeah.
And this is it for Kelleher. This is his golden opportunity to either get a massive pay rise with Liverpool, be the number 2, see us through the next phase, or go be a number 1, probably mid to lower end Premier League. He really needs to be playing right now, doesn't he?
Exactly what you said. It's why would he even think to himself, I want to be out the side? He knows when Alisson comes back, the Klopp's going to probably just say, I'm really sorry, mate. Our number 1 goalie's back. That's fair. I mean, Alisson's phenomenal. But in the meantime, as Sam said, funny enough, it took him a little while to get up to playing really well, because we all kept saying, well, he's got a mistake in him and we're not sure 100%. To be fair to the guy, he's come in and now he's had a consistent run. He's showing that he's actually got really good skills. The Chelsea game, some of the saves you were thinking, there's a one-on-one here and it's like, what are we going to do kind of thing? They're going to score. And he comes out or he just sticks a leg out in the right place and you think, fair play to the guy, his confidence is sky high. So even I would suggest Liverpool are going to offer him a new deal, because I don't know how long he's going to say, I'll be a number 2. At some point, he's going to say, listen, I've had enough. I either want number 1 here or I want to go somewhere else. But until he says that, pin him down and keep him. Because if he's happy for another couple of years to say, I'll be number 2, it's like, just keeping them. Because he's not a bad number 2 at all. He's actually really, really good. And he's confident. The more he plays, and it's great when, and I mean, of course, a new manager coming in, which we know is going to happen, could have a completely different view. We all know this. It's like, and we all love particular players at the club now, and we go, oh, do you know what? We've got a brilliant future. And it doesn't matter if it's Alonso or Morris or somebody random that comes in.
Could you imagine if a manager comes in, Kings, and go, you know what, Alisson, you're shit. I'm going with Kelleher.
Yeah, no, he won't necessarily. He's not going to do that. But some names that we have, he could just come in and go, actually, you don't play to my style. I'm going to move you on. That's what happens in football. And if you can keep this side together with somebody like Kelleher who's happy to stay there as a backup, the reason I was saying about that is because Klopp trusts him, like in the League Cup, and says, you'll play whatever happens. And he doesn't get to the final and go, right, well, we're putting in Alisson now because we need to win the cup. He sticks with him, and he's really good at giving players confidence, like the youngsters. If another manager can come in and do that and still harness the togetherness that this squad has got, then he needs to stay and be part of it, because I think he is a really good goalie.
I completely agree. And next we're going to move on to quotes made by Trent, and I'm going to come to you first. I'm going to read you the quote, Kev, but I'll come to you first for this, because you're the one that, you were on the bus. You were down at Wembley drinking orange juice to start with. That's why you didn't feel great. And then you moved on to your beer. It was only one. But Trent said, recent quote, looking back on this area, although Man City, won more titles than us and have probably been more successful, our trophies will mean more to us and our fan base because of situations of both clubs financially. How both clubs have built their teams in a manner in which they've done it probably means more to our fans. If ever a vice captain fully understood his fan base and fully understood what it means and how people are talking about the Klopp era in comparison to the Pep era, Trent's just nailed it there with that quote, hasn't he?
Absolutely. Like Fonzie, he has absolutely nailed it. You look at where this club was before Klopp came in. We were on the ropes. No one knew exactly who we were. We had a few one-offs in European competitions. we kind of had a bridesmaid kind of view of being in a Premier League title. Weren't that many, but you look at what Klopp's brought into this team, the ethos. He's got the values of the club. He's got them instilled in all the players. And you look at where the club is now in comparison to where it was 8 years ago. It is unbelievable a job that a man has actually done with this team. It is, and where he's took this club to in very weird times as well. You know, we went through a spell of COVID as well. Add that into the mix, and you've been to 3 European Cup finals in that time. Do you know what I mean? It could have been a lot more. I'm not saying that it shouldn't, but it could have done with different things. If we had Alisson a year earlier, who's to say that Carrius doesn't start that cup final and we win it? So there's certain things in this. But you look at where you look at what the club's done, and we're now at a crossroads again. But this time, what FSG have got now is they haven't got that golden glove that they can pull out that fits the club really well. There's trepidation on certain people. There's not one actual true candidate that fulfills what Klopp has done. And you're now filling in essence, similar to what Ferguson was at United. Kenny Dalglish, when he left us the first time, Shankly, when he left, it went to the boot room, and Paisley gets in. This is an important time for the club, but you cannot get away from the fact of what this now means to us. He has brought back the confidence, the belief. We turned from doubters to believers from his first quote when he first came in. You look at what this club means to him and to us fans, and what it means to these players as well, to be part of that process, and have been there from start to the finish. It is absolutely a brilliant, absolutely superb, and it's a shame that you couldn't make a series out of it, because it's been that watchable. You've got a team that is now one of the elite. We are sitting at that table and everyone knows who we are. They fear us when we're in Europe. They fear us even more now with the style of football that we play and the style. And now you will add the youth to it. Oh my word! This club is probably the biggest it probably has been since probably Shankly, if or Paisley maybe. That's the kind of royalty we are at the minute. And Trent has nailed it absolutely the way you want it to. He is, again, it's all about the ethos, it's all about the values, it's all about the club, and it's all about what that one man has done to us and what it means to us as fans. No other club, apart from United, would actually have enjoyed or understand why it means so much to us. It's amazing what that man has done, and it's a shame it's got to come to an end.
Yeah, I was trying to explain it to someone the other day in terms of where we came from, because obviously Liverpool have always been a massive club, but we were a cup club really. We for the majority of from 90s onwards until Klopp came in, we were a cup club where we would do amazing things in the cup. We might have a good run in the league, but no one wanted to come against us in a cup. But we were a cup club because we had 2-3 great players at different times. We never had a squad. We never had a team of undeniables. And now you go, well, you look, you've got Virgil, Alisson, Salah, Mane, Firmino, and now you've got Diaz, Nunes. The list goes on of names, and people are arguing over who's the best name of this and that and the other. And we're talking about Ballon d'Or winners, not just Steven Gerrard, and Steven Gerrard and this person, Steven Gerrard and this person. And I feel for Gerrard because he's missed out on this. But we needed it. We needed to go through the bad times so that you can appreciate the good times. Nobody can, just get a billionaire owner in and spend and enjoy it the same way, can they, Sam? You need to have struggle to understand.
Only Chelsea can do it. But what I hear what you're saying, because one thing that people have to understand is this: the idea of that it took us 30 years to get the Premier League. The thing that we were known for, it took us 30 years to get it back. That has to tell you everything about where we were. And also, I think because of Klopp, the way he was able to bring the stability in the club, that we stopped being a selling club. Remember, every time whenever we could produce a gem, a Luis Suarez, Barcelona come and get him. Anyone who comes in that you would say, oh, now we have a player, another big team will always come and get him. So it took time from us from coming from being a selling club we are only interested in cups to a team that we can now say that, you know what, you can't mess with Liverpool. We are not only focusing on one player, we are looking at the whole entire team. We talk about how whenever Nunes comes in, we are excited. Whenever even Jota comes in, there's that excitement. Imagine our bench right now. Some people fear our bench. It's because of what Klopp has done to us as a team. It was, I don't really want to relive the 2015 and the 2014 days, because it was painful to watch my team every single time. You know, we were so irrelevant to a point now that those starting Manchester United fans, the only thing that they can get back at us is that they said, you're not irrelevant, say 6 years ago or 10 years ago, because they know that we have gotten a manager who has put us there. We are now there. And the fact that Trent Alexander-Arnold came up and said something like this, you can tell that he's somebody who understands where we are coming from the team, as a team, and how much it took us from where we were to become the believers we are now. Remember, now people are bringing back this. We are now being called the mentality monsters as well. Who came up with that? It was all because of what Klopp was able to build. And you can tell that sometimes the people say that we don't really celebrate what Man City has done, but it's because they know the story that Liverpool are writing every single time whenever we are building with our teams, with whatever that we're doing, with against all odds, fighting against a team that can go and just say that who is the most expensive player in the market, we can get him, no problems. And we find ourselves fighting with a club like that, with a mind like Pep Guardiola. So you have to see that it's all about what Klopp has come and done, and how much this has created this family that we love to support as Liverpool to become one big club as we are right now, and we are recognized. I actually love sometimes when I hear Pep Guardiola talking about whenever he's going to play Liverpool, he doesn't sleep. He has bought a big deal of a team, but he cannot sleep because of what Klopp has turned us into. And who am I to not enjoy this ride that this man is created for? So it's exciting to see.
Now, Kings, obviously you haven't heard this quote before we went live, because you were like, James, what's this Trent quote? What are you thinking?
I have no idea what you're talking about. I read it as soon as he put it out.
But he's right, isn't he? You know, he's pretty much nailed how it feels to be part of this fan base. It's like, it doesn't matter how many trophies we win at the end of this year. Like, we want to see off Klopp. We want to say thank you. We want to let him go by, you know, and the millions of people, which I know Man City fans won't understand, millions of people on the streets, but that's what everyone wants, and they want to make it as special as they possibly can. We want to win as much as we possibly can, and he's the same. It's just it's coming up to that sort of perfect end story, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's going to be, I suppose, slightly on a tangent, and probably maybe a little bit controversial. The old Man City, who went down to League One, etc., years ago, before the new Man City come along, there will be fans of that club who are loving this, who are, you know, older generation, and it's like, and they're probably savoring every trophy they win, because they're just like, we've never had this. And okay, fair enough. The new City fans, who are now only on the money run type thing, is like, they just expect it. Like Chelsea, they got to a point where they were spending money, winning things, and it just become the norm. It's not special to win the league because they're going to win it next year or this year or whatever. So when he comes out and says, yeah, but it means a lot to Liverpool fans, Scousers, locals, whatever, then I can understand that. It's like, I'm not a local Scouse lad, but I've followed Liverpool for like 45 years. So it's like, well, I've been in the good, the bad, and followed them. You know, when people say, oh, you've been a fan for how long? It's like, it's not just while Klopp's been there. It's been all the crap through the 90s where, like you say, we ended up winning the odd thing here and there and people taking the mick all the time. It's like, but you stick with your team. And there's loads of Liverpool, all Liverpool fans mainly, will now relish what Klopp has brought and love it to the point that he has, as both Sam and Kev have said, that I've put Liverpool back up there, back on their perch, just for Fergie. You know, just put them back up there. And they're now suffering similar. When a manager of that stature leaves, it's really difficult to replace them. And following on Klopp is going to be, it doesn't matter if it's Alonso, 18 months, that's all he's been a manager. It doesn't matter if it was Ancelotti coming in. Not that I want him with his tax problems and everything, but you know what I mean? Somebody who's had 30 years experience. It's massive, massive shoes to fill. And I think if the club, if the team at the moment put everything into these last run of games, and the club have already mentioned the fact they might do a parade, etc. And you think, what, just for the Carabao Cup? It's like, well, it's not for that, is it? You know, it's nothing of the sort. It's for Klopp himself. And I'm sure there would be more fans come out to see Klopp off than maybe come out for the last one where we had, you know, the European Cup or whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's like there would be literally hundreds of thousands of people. Oh, excuse me. There'd be hundreds of thousands there who just literally want to say thanks for bringing back the good times and making this club, you know, celebrated again.
Now, one of the things that I do like about, you know, and Helios said this, you know, in the chat, Klopp's been perfect for Liverpool, but I think it's important to give credit to FSG for their developments as the club and as an organisation. Now, and whilst if this was tomorrow and Damo was on, he'd be losing his mind right now. I think it is important to say, regardless of if they get the appointment wrong for the next manager, if they get the next appointment wrong, you know, and we go into that little weird period of not having the right manager. Unlike United, they've invested in all the right infrastructure. We have state-of-the-art training. We have state-of-the-art facilities. We have state-of-the-art stadium. Everything's not falling apart. They've ensured that the situation for success is there, and that's what they deserve credit for. Their next level of credit will be getting this next appointment right. Because if they get it wrong, it will be, for a period of time, toxic. Won't it, Kevin? Like the fans will be blaming FSG, and we'll end up fighting it amongst ourselves as opposed to supporting the team on the pitch to help them achieve success.
This is probably their biggest decision that they're going to have to make. It was easy last time because Klopp was the only option. This time it comes a little bit harder because we're now looking at everything. We are trying now. Don't get me wrong; it's going to be hard to, and I agree with what Kings and Steve said. It's in Sam said it is going to be difficult, and this is going to be a time where we have to stay unison. We have to be unity in. We know there's going to be a drop off of some description. We are football knowledgeable people. We know what's going to happen. There is going to be a drop. How far that drop is, we don't know. Who's going to come in, we don't know. The club are doing what they can. I am confident that they will do the best that they can to the best of their ability. They're looking at analytics. I believe they were at the Porto game at the weekend to check Ruben Almiron's style of play. Now, this is all part of the data that we're going to be immune to now. You know, we've got a transfer window, or it feels like that, with a sporting director coming in. You've got, and that's going to be the integral part. That's going to be the first part of the puzzle. That will then speak volumes of who is then going to come in, where no one really knows at the minute, apart from those who are actually in those in that boardroom. This is the biggest decision that they're going to have to make about this club that they've ever have to done before. This is basically, this is either going to continue with the with the way we've played and continue with the trophies, or there's going to be a drop, a dramatic drop, and it depends how far down that goes. Will be determined how it will be expelled to the board. But at the end of the day, there's one candidate that we all want. But the problem is that we've got Bayern Munich who are now looking for a manager. You've got Barcelona who are looking for a manager. So we are in trepid waters. So, we are going to have to look, and we need a plan B as well. We need a good plan B as to who that's going to be. I haven't got a clue who I want. I change my mind every 2 minutes. I'd like the fact of Alonso because he's got the values, he's got the ethos of the club. But for me, what's important is that we have to be able to adapt to the new manager as much as he has to adapt to us. So the flexibility within the team and how we play and the style we play and the manner we play, is that flexible with any of the managers that we want? Is it more flexible with one manager than the other? Are we looking at a manager that likes to progress youth through their team? It's a tough battle. The problem you've got with United is that Moyes was their manager and they gave him 6 years. That was probably the worst thing that they could have ever done. They put it on a manager straight away. It's not down to them. The difference is that we have the legacy that Klopp has left, and the way the club is far better than where it was with United when Ferguson left. And for me, whoever comes in, it's going to be tough anyway. And I'll be honest, whoever it is, I'm going to back to the hilt. It's got to be done. Gary O'Neill, he's doing well. The reason why I think Alonso is the standout candidate is because he's, unlike Gerrard, who went to the SPL and won the league, he's on the cusp of breaking Bayern Munich 10 years spell of winning the title in one of the top five leagues in the world.
And not even in the second-ranked club.
Exactly. And that's why the appeal and how he's only 18 months in, but that still comes with trepidation though, because it's only 18 months as a manager, and then he's going to probably the biggest league in the world, being the Premier League, and then add into the mix, you're stepping in the shadow of Jurgen Klopp just leaving as well. There's a lot of things that goes on, and I'll be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if there's probably 3 or 4 candidates there. I think it has now brightened because De Zerbi would have been up there if they haven't fallen away as much as they have. Thomas Frank have had in the mix, and another one. Do you know what I mean? So there are people. Our style of football will bring those actual candidates down to a small number. But again, this is probably the FSG's biggest decision that they've ever made in since they've taken over Liverpool in the 12 or 13 years that they've had the club. This is the biggest decision that they'll ever have to make.
And I think the pressure on it becomes even more because you've got Trent's about to go into a year left, Van Dijk's about to go into a year left, Salah's about to go into a year left. You get, let's say, you get a David Moyes type appointment where none of the fans want him, none of the players want him. You're going to lose those players straight away. Why would they sign a contract? I think, and this might be a controversial take, for me, it's Alonso or nobody, because I think Alonso's got a strength that Klopp doesn't have, which is a crazy thing to say, but I think Alonso's got that proper I will win at all costs mentality, whereas I think Klopp is sometimes more emotionally led with his players and wants to do things for the players. Alonso's won everything as a player, like World Cups, Euros, the lot. And I think he's got that absolute killer instinct, probably like what Paisley had. If you compare Paisley and Shankly, Shankly's got that heart, body, people, passion. Paisley had that killer instinct. And I think that's what Alonso's got for me. And I think if you don't get him, it's going to be an uphill battle for whoever comes in, unfortunately, unless I think you've got someone that's really strong mentally, and I mean like a Thomas Frank type mentality of I don't give a, I am who I am, you're going to really struggle. And I think I love Gary O'Neill as a manager. I think he could do great things, but I think he might get swallowed up by something like Liverpool. What do you think, Sam?
I'm 100% in agreement of what you're saying. I think Alonso is the guy. For me, he is the guy. I don't think I have anyone next to him or aside of him, because the reason why I'm saying this is because he has been a player of Liverpool. So we always say that you are one of us. When you have passed through Liverpool, you are one of us. And I feel like that will actually be the best thing that the owners of Liverpool do, because I'm sure 100% that us, the Liverpool fans, will give him time. We'll allow him to make his mistakes while he copes with the new job, because we all know that this is not an easy one. Coming behind Klopp, it's always going to be difficult for anybody who's coming. But because he's one of us, and because of what we know, we know how we stand with one of our own. So I feel like if they are going to make this decision, they need to choose. They have to make sure that they get him no matter what, because that will build up. Trust me, the relationship with the FSG and the fans has always been lacking. So I feel like if they do this after Klopp, I'm sure that the fans will continue supporting them and believing in them. And because of also what he's doing in Liverpool, this guy is about to beat Bayern Munich, who have been winning for the past 10 years, with a team that if you go player for player looking at their price tags, you actually say that exactly that's what Klopp has been doing with Pep Guardiola. Because you cannot compare the two teams in terms of how much they estimate the players cost. So you feel like he's doing exactly what Klopp has been doing here at Liverpool, but he's just doing it and he finds ways of winning, which has really surprised so many people, because can you believe that it's now 34 games without being beaten? This guy is really trying to break all the history that Bayern Munich has been working so hard to build. So I feel like if FSG are really serious of getting the best replacement of Klopp, they have to look at Alonso. I know people have other managers that they like to call up. I'm not of that. I want him, or I don't even know who's going to come for Liverpool, who's going to come as our next manager. But it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to work on this, because it's not an easy decision. And I had to be the person who's going to do this. And also, this thing of Bayern Munich being interested and they're about to get him, I don't really buy that, to be honest, because if we have seen something, we have seen that it seems like he doesn't want to talk about any management until he's done with the job he's doing right now this season. So they're just trying to play with our reaction and how we're going to be doing that. That's why I've stopped following some of the reporters who are very close to the club, because they're really wasting my time. So I know that he has a decision to make, and I'm sure at the right time he will. And we've heard him, I think it was 2017 when he was doing an interview with one of our YouTube channels, LFC channels, and he said that he will always want to come back to Liverpool, because the thing that he regrets the most is not winning a trophy with Liverpool. And now it's proving that he can do that as a manager. He's about to do it. So I'm sure he will do it when it comes to Liverpool. And I'm sure he will choose Liverpool above any other clubs that comes.
Now, before you all jump on Sam, I think he meant the Premier League, not a trophy.
Yeah, he took the Premier League.
Before you all jump on him.
Yes, the Premier League.
But and we've got people saying, Amaron, and Gary O'Neill, there's De Zerbi, Thomas. The struggle I think everyone's going to have is just it's that whole it's going down. Like the first, like as Kev said, Kings, the first 3 months we're not going to be great, because you're going to have that lull of it's gone. We're in a new play. How is it going to be? You've got trepidation. You've got a new way of playing. Whoever it is, it's going to be a new way of playing. So it's not muscle memory. So it's going to go down. It needs someone that the fans are going to give time and pay. And yes, I know Liverpool fans are more patient than most. And if it ends up being someone like Roy Hodgson again, then probably they're not going to be as patient as most. But
Sam Allardyce, maybe.
It doesn't. If I was Xabi Alonso, you pretty much have a blank checkbook to write. You should have a blank checkbook to write a number down, because if it's 30 million a year, Bayern are probably going to pay it. We should be ready to pay it, because I think at this moment in time, there's Pep and there's Klopp in world football at this moment in time as the leading managers. Everyone else is fighting to break into that top two. The one that looks closest is obviously Xabi Alonso, but no one else is really stepping forward. Everyone who's taken 4 or 5 steps forwards has also taken 1 or 2 steps back. You look at De Zerbi, you look at Thomas Frank. If this had been this time last year, we'd all be going, yeah, all right, I get Thomas Frank. He's Danish. He's brutally honest. He's exactly the type of player, and he plays pretty much the exact same way Klopp plays, but with worse players. But now it's like, we're in a really weird situation where if FSG know what's good for them, and said, if everyone was to be given the option, do you want to spend 50 million on a player, or do you want us to spend 50 million getting the manager that you want? I think pretty much everyone would choose manager.
Yeah.
Let me know in the chat.
I'll tell you something, James. I mean, look at it from a Liverpool fan's point of view, right? What if, now I've learned as I've got older to take a step back when there's an announcement like Klopp leaving or Gerrard's leaving or somebody's coming in, whatever the situation at the club, learn to take a step back and analyze it and go, right, let's see how this plays out. Because it's all well and good getting, and I'm not being the lads on here, but just in general as a fan base, getting hysterical going, we all want Alonso, he's going to be the man. How do we know that? Yes, he's had 18 months. I'm not knocking there's only 18 months and he plays a particular way and he seems mentally strong. But what if he comes in and literally for the first couple of years, he's absolutely crap at Liverpool. He just doesn't work. Then we're all going to melt down and just go, well, that was a crap appointment then because we've got to start looking for someone else possibly. And it's like, I don't think that would happen. But it's very easy to jump. It's a yes or it's a no, like you love it or you hate it. It's like, well, take a step back and let's have a look at it. I seen in the chat there that the FSG do like data analysis and stuff like that. And Amarin, I think, is actually second just behind Klopp. And the one I seen anyway, I think Alonso was about 5th in the list on all the stats and everything. It was like, okay, I don't really look at the stats that much. I look at the person because you can fit in some places and not in others. Now, I think the last manager that broke Bayern Munich's spell in the league was Klopp before Alonso, if I'm not mistaken. And it's like, that's a great omen. And he does have a love for the club. There's no doubt. I mean, I loved Alonso when he was at the club, and I was really gutted when he left. And I think he left too soon, unfortunately. But look, when Klopp first came in, he didn't just come in and like in the first 5 games, he was a magician and everything was perfect. It took time. It's like he wasn't, if you really look back at the first 12 months, you can't say Klopp was the best manager we'd ever had. He's now turned into a fantastic manager and he's learned about the club as the club and the fans have learned about him. It takes time to develop a relationship. And whoever comes in does need time. So it's like, me personally, it's like, yes, if somebody said to me, it is Alonso, I'll be quite happy. But if they say it's someone else, I'm just going to take a step back and go, right, let's see how this plays out then, because it's not as clear cut as he's definitely going to be a winner. He's definitely going to be bad for the club.
I'd agree with that. And I think for me, if you think of it from your everyday working lives, like we all work in whatever we do. We've all got jobs. And we know if our manager, boss, leader was to leave, who the next person would be. Because we've seen them, we know them, we've felt them, we know how it works. They've been part of the war with us. And straight away, you know the answer. You could probably think, like, if this person left, I know so-and-so would do it. And we've all got succession planning in place. Now, technically, that should have been Pep Lijnders. Obviously, that's not going to work out. Succession planning, therefore, comes down to culture for me. And we all know what culture Xabi Alonso will bring because we know him from when he's been here. What we don't know is if someone new comes in. Now, if someone new comes in, they could, you're right, Kings, they could be amazing. They could be worse. But regardless, fans will have a lot more trepidation about someone new coming in than someone who's culturally already a fit. And I think that's what we're all talking about here. We want that culture. We want that fit. We want that. We want to continue this wave. We don't want to stop because we enjoy dreaming, and Klopp's allowing us to dream on a regular basis. Final question,
James. Oh, sorry. I'm just going to butt in and say, years ago when Dalglish left, we were all like, he's got a fantastic side. We knew there was obviously things going on behind the scenes, but like, they're bringing Graham Souness in. He knows the club. And it really went to pot because we got too many old people, we'll get them all out. And now he's admitted, in books and that sense, that he shouldn't have got so many out so quick. Fair enough. And I just hope the club and anybody else, in a way, it looks at the history. I don't think Alonso would come in and do that. But it does show, though, even ex-players come in and get it wrong. And I don't want everyone to think I'm negative. I'd love Alonso to come in. And I'd love him to be a success.
A hothead. Regardless, a hothead is a hothead. An intelligent player is an intelligent player.
Yeah.
And Souness, Alonso, Dalglish.
I'm not comparing them like for like as such, but you know what I mean? It's like we've had a continuation of an ex-player before and it's gone wrong.
Score predictions. That's what we're going to finish on. First leg, Sparta Prague, Liverpool. Kev, I'll start with you.
3-1.
To Sparta Prague?
1-3. You have to be pedantic, don't we, James? Hey?
Hey, I just didn't know if you started this negativity. Sam, score prediction?
I think it's gonna be 4-0. We're gonna beat them 4-0.
Wow.
Because I think Keller will continue with his clean sheet if he's going to play. I'm sure about that.
3-1, 4-0. Give me a score prediction.
I'm going to be less excited about it. I think because it's the first leg and potentially there's a few changes, like we said earlier, I'll go for 2-1 Liverpool. And then we'll finish them properly in the second leg.
And just Jen, obviously 7-0. I'm
it's
going
not Man
2-0.
United, is it?
It's not Manchester United. It's not Manchester United.
2-0 for me. I think we'll get them both in the second half. And I will never leave Kev alone. He knows this. Thank you very much to Kev Kings and Sam for his debut. Obviously, we don't have time for Sam to sing for us. He never got told about the song. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. This is LFC Transfer Room. Let's hope for a good, solid 7-0 victory, as Jen put in the chat. And we'll catch you on the next one as we start to lead up to the Man City game. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.